All right, everybody, the Metal Block back at you again with another awesome episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're happy to have you with us. If you haven't, go like it, subscribe if you want. We really like that kind of stuff. Go interact, most importantly, though. Go find Brandon on social media and check out all the stuff he's posting and he's sharing, because it's usually some pretty good information. Kind of tells you what's either going on with the show or, more importantly, what's going on out there in the metal community. And so if there's something you want to hear or something you want us to talk about, let us know. metalblocktalks@gmail.com. We love getting emails. We don't get very many, but we love getting them. So shoot us a line.
We get very excited when an email comes in. We're like, did you see that email? Oh my God.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a really cool one. I mean, we don't really ever, we just get to talk with some really cool people online, and we're like, did you see so-and-so emailed us back? That was so awesome. And, 'cause deep down, we're just fans of the genre, we're fans of metal, and we love the bands that are out there. And special surprise, we have another awesome interview tonight. And instead of me doing the rambling thing like I sometimes accidentally do, we're just going to go ahead and introduce these guys. So we have In Your Grave with us here tonight. So excited, from Utah. And, man, woo! These boys know how to party. I got a chance to see them in OKC here just recently. It was really awesome. Not so often that it's time that the band we're about to interview is also a band band I get to go see is a band we're about to interview. But, man, it is, like, way cool whenever it happens. And, without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to these guys. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, say what they do to the band or with the band, and then we'll get to doing some talking. So, all right, fellas, y'all want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name's Collin. I do vocals.
I'm Mason. I play guitar and do backing vocals.
And I'm Steven, and I do drums.
Very cool. Like I said, if you haven't had a chance to check these guys out, In Your Grave, go check them out. They're awesome, and they've also got some really cool artwork, t-shirt designs, and stuff like that. So if you catch them out on the road, buy some merch, because they're out right now, traveling around. As you can see, they're not in their office. You know what I mean? Like, they are on the road. These guys are what you call touring musicians, out there doing it and enjoying it. They had a smile on their face, and it was a lot of fun chatting with them. So I'm going to hand it over to Brandon. He's going to ask some questions so we can start digging. All right, Brando, all you, buddy.
All right, I got my shovel. Let's do some digging. So what's up, fellas? Thanks for joining us. We're very excited to have you guys. Like Zoomy said, we would love to start with getting to know you guys, a little bit of your history, like individually. So why don't we start with Steven and tell us, like, what's your metal origin story? How'd you get into metal music?
So I had a pretty unorthodox introduction to metal. I mean, I grew up with, like, a bunch of skateboarders and stuff. That's what me and my brothers were into. And we kind of got into some of the more punky stuff, started getting into, like, Misfits and, things like that. But actually, at first, like, music with screaming and stuff in it didn't really appeal to me. And it wasn't until I actually played the game Guitar Hero 2 until I played Beast and the Harlot by Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah.
That was like my introduction to the whole genre. And I just fell in love with it. And then from there, I developed an addiction or an obsession with the band for way too long. Got super into the drums, and yeah, just from then, like, it's been all metal all the time, pretty much.
Awesome. What kind of skateboard did you ride?
Anything that my mom could afford.
Walmart brand.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
Very DIY around here.
Nope.
You hit one of those half pipes on a banana board?
Oh God, no! I can never do half pipes or quarter pipes or anything like that. I have this weird complex about, like, dropping in. Every time I've tried, I immediately would fall and hit the back of my head. I just couldn't commit, and I was like, "I'm gonna go play the drums. Skating's dumb."
Yeah, I tried dropping in one time, dislocated my arm and ripped everything off that holds my right arm in place. So
No.
I did not drop in ever again. Said, fuck that, I'm done.
Yeah, pretty much.
So here's what's kind of funny is Brandon and I went to the same high school together, and so we were skateboarding around the same time. And so the town where we were in at the time is still the town I live in, Norman, Oklahoma, but they didn't have a real skate park. They just had an old tennis court that was at one of the local parks that a bunch of kids made ramps and stuff and drug them all in, and the city just allowed it to happen. And I remember we'd go out there all the time. And anyway, yeah, Brando, he drops in on this quarter pipe, and we're like, okay, cool. Quarter pipe. And we were like, all right, he's about to do this. And so we're all sitting there watching. Mandy wipes out, and we're like, ah. And then, he's like walking like this, and we're like, are you okay? And then the next thing I know, we're calling his mom, and we're like, hey, we need to warm up the car because an ER visit is in his future, like pronto. So that was the end of our skateboarding days, and I would say that's where we turned more toward music because if Brandon couldn't skate, like all of us, like in our little crew, we were like, well, we're not going to skate, and so we all started playing more music, which we did a little bit at that time anyway. So it's funny the similarities, that we hear on the show, and that's a good story, man.
Yeah, dude, small world.
Yeah, and then the punk music too. You said unorthodox. I would say punk. So many times I hear people say punk led them into the heavier metal. I mean, I hear it all the time, and it was like that with me, man. I was into punk and all of that stuff, and yeah. I mean, so it's just funny, I hear the stories, and I'm like, man, all the time. Brandon hears me say it all the time, like, man, that sounds so much like me.
Heck yeah.
All right. Mason, how about you?
Well, actually, kind of the same way. Like I started out skateboarding, except I'm super soft, despite the face tattoo, and I found Fall Out Boy and Green Day first, so I kind of started in a more, I'd say, pop punk kind of a realm, and then I found Avenged Sevenfold and Slipknot one day, and then it was all downhill from there. And like my mom raised me on Motley Crue and Aerosmith and all that kind of older stuff, so like I mainly just listened to what she would listen to until I found Fall Out Boy, Green Day, and like Blink-182 and all that stuff. And then she started listening to everything I would listen to until it started getting to like Slipknot and heavier levels. Then she's like, that's too much. That's way past anything I would have done.
Nice. I actually started with Nirvana was the first band that I like on my own started getting into outside of what my parents would let me listen to. And then from there, it like branched into like Pennywise and NoFX, and then started hearing about like Pantera and then radio metal and stuff, like new metal, and then started getting into death metal myself. So that was my track, but some more similarities, man. It's awesome. We all have the same, not the same, but similar journeys.
Man, and I remember walking into buy my first CD. Like I'm part of that CD generation, and so cassettes had kind of like faded out. I mean, there were a few of them that we had gotten our hands on, but that was more like whenever I was like in 5th and 6th grade, we were still hitting up on some cassettes. But whenever I got to like more of the, a little bit older, like you said, whenever you're listening to more music on your own and less of just what other people around you are listening to, that's whenever I started buying CDs because all my friends had CDs. And the first CD I went in and bought was Marilyn Manson, Antichrist Superstar. And I remember like carrying it up to my mom and being like, Mom, this is the one I want. And she like picked it up and looked at it. And back then every CD was like parental advisory. I don't even know if they put that on them now.
I wasn't allowed to have it either. That and Korn.
Yeah, but I mean, it. And anyway, she picked it up and looked at it, and she was like, okay. And so I needed my mom to buy it for me at the time. That's how music actually was. Is certain albums you would have to. It's like they would be like rated in a way, and you might be able to get away with it, but sometimes people would be like, you need to be so old to buy this. And so anyway, Mom bought the Marilyn Manson album, and yeah. Then there was more metal after that. I had no fear then, right? I was like, well, I can buy anything.
I think my first CD was Dookie by Green Day, and I showed that to my mom. She was like, "Good choice."
That is good. My dad was into that one. That's where I heard that too. That's cool. Collin, lay it on us, man. What's your origin story?
I started working at a venue when I turned like 18, and just kind of decided to play in a band so we could have more bands to open up for more shows and stuff like that. And our sound guy at the venue was in a metal band, and so that's just kind of how we developed, I guess.
Sweet. So, tell us a little bit about In Your Grave. So you said that's kind of how you guys developed the band, was through that venue and opening up there, or?
Yeah, on the tail end, we shut down about 3 years ago. We were open for about 10 years. But we had a shooting, and so the venue shut down. And once it shut down, we decided to kind of pursue music more seriously, and that's kind of how like In Your Grave kind of came around. Uh, kind of used a lot of the knowledge that we had learned over the years and stuff like that to help us.
Did you guys all grow up together, or come together
Not
like
for
for
the
this
most part,
band?
no. We kind of all found each other later. Kind of just being in the scene, especially with Collin working at the venue. We'd all go hang out there and kind of you get to know each other anyway. And then, yeah, a few years later, I ended up joining the band later. We kind of all met each other through networking as musicians, which we've all found is probably the most important thing as a musician to do.
Yeah, and then with Steven, we played a show in Idaho Falls with his band. And then we went and saw another friend's band called Godbone out in Idaho Falls, and their band played the show as well. And so we went over there and we're like, "Hey, man, we'd love to have you play in our band."
I believe it's what they call poaching.
Nice.
All is fair in love and metal, man.
That's right.
And we talk on this show like so often about the community and how the community like supports and almost intermingles, too. Like the fans are also sometimes in other bands, and so like fans of one band are in bands, and just like vice versa, everybody's just kind of supporting each other. And likewise, musicians themselves are often, especially if you're good, needed in more than one project. And so if you're capable of doing it, and a lot of the greats are, then that's just what happens. And so and then like sometimes too we hear the story of, oh, we were in this person was in this band and it was super serious and they were really awesome, but something happened with their band and they just weren't as active anymore. And then our band was becoming more active, and we just offered the opportunity, and then they came over, and then that one becomes the full-time gig for this person because the other band just wasn't as I don't want to say as productive or anything, but just sometimes life happens and stuff gets in the way, and people's scheduling, especially whenever you have a lot of people. Unfortunately, it's hard to keep everybody on the same page, and I'm sure you guys know that. I am not telling you anything you don't know. So, anywho.
It's the worst getting 5 dudes in the same room when you have kids and shit like that. There's lots going on.
Yeah, you know what? Kids, I feel like it's wives.
Yeah, that's true. True.
Kids think it's cool that you're in a band.
Yeah, man. The wives are like, "You're never home. You're coming home at 2 a.m. Blah, 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 blah." Sorry, honey.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh man. All right. So you guys are on the road right now. Tell us a little bit about this tour. When did it start? Where have you been? Where are you going?
Oh man, started June 5th. So, and we've kind of been all over the place. We started down in New Mexico, trailed off into Texas and Oklahoma. Then we went back home to Salt Lake for our hometown show. Then up to Idaho. Oh, where did we go after that? Spokane?
Idaho Falls, and then Spokane.
And then Seattle.
Our Oregon show got canceled, sadly, and then we went to California after that. And now we're about to head to Tucson.
And Tucson's next, and then is that the end, or like do you guys have more?
No, and then we got Vegas, and then Phoenix for Sad Dad Fest is the last day.
All right,
We're
cool.
almost done.
Man, that's quite the trek.
Yeah, got till the 28th. We're almost there.
I think we put on like 12,000 miles on the van just this trip alone.
Yeah.
Dang.
Wow.
A lot of driving. I did like 15 hours out of this one 17-hour drive.
Oh, God.
Dude, it was crazy. I couldn't believe he did it.
Yeah, and the thing that kills me about that was like when we knew how long of a drive we had ahead of us, Collin was just like, I'll probably knock out like 3 or 4 hours and then we'll just pull over and sleep. We wake up and he's like, yeah, I've been driving for like 13 hours.
It was literally after the Oklahoma show where we saw you at. After that show, we just went straight to Utah after that.
Man, it's brutal being out there on the road whenever you're just driving like that. I couldn't imagine like playing shows, staying up late, and then having to do it. But I can relate in being a driving champion. You know, I always am like, no, I got it, no problem, and so I'll just knock it out. I mean, I think with the family we went like 14 hours one time, and I was like, yeah, I got this, and everybody was like, how in the world can you drive 14 hours? And I'm like, you know, you stay awake as long as you can, and then after that, you know, you
nap.
put it like podcasts or something on, and you find other ways to not let your mind get distracted, because I felt whenever you drive that much, it isn't even like staying awake that becomes dangerous. It's your like mind wandering whenever you start getting tired, and then you're like, the next thing you know, you're like, oh yeah, I'm driving, and it's like you weren't asleep, you were just daydreaming or something. It's weird. It's like almost, you know how whenever you drive and you get like into like a hypnotic state, you know, you've like you drive the same route every day, and then one day you get home and you're like, whoa, I don't even remember driving home today. Holy crap.
We were talking about
I brought that up with these guys earlier today. There have been so many times where like I go through like a stoplight or something like that. Obviously it was green, didn't get pulled over, but like I'll start cruising like maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and then like I'll suddenly become aware, and I'm just like, oh my God, was that even green?
Where am I?
Oh yeah,
I'm
that
driving.
happened to me the other day. I was like, did I just run a fucking stop sign? I was like, nah, I guess not. I'm alive.
The same thing can happen, though, I guess, is all I was saying on the long trips, but it almost like works against you. That co-pilot kind of like, I don't know, it's like he's no longer safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's going to sabotage you, and he's going to drive you off the bridge. So you have to like make sure that he doesn't, come out and decide to start driving while you're on these long trips.
Right.
Man.
When I co-pilot for him, like in the middle of the night and stuff, if I can't sleep, because I get insomnia real bad, just can't sleep, he'll be sitting there driving for however many hours, and then I'm just sitting here on my phone doing any bit of kind of band work, like sending emails, commenting on posts, putting up new posts, doing whatever I can to stay productive and to stay awake. So if he needs like directions changed or needs something, I can just be there to help him with it. I'm not going to touch the driving. That's all him. I'm going to stay out of the way.
Yeah, just somebody to talk to, man.
You might need someone to flick him in the ear when you start to veer into the bumps.
Broken up, you know?
Like, hey, you awake over there?
whisper sweet nothings, you know.
No, that's really cool though, Mason, that you mentioned that, because one of the things, you know, that I don't know, a lot of people kind of wonder is, when does a band have time to get, you know, emails sent out and actually interact with their fan base, especially whenever they're out on tour and they're staying so busy. But, you know, you kind of illustrated a good example of when is a good time to do it. You know, it helps keep your mind, you know, awake and engaged, so that you can, you know, be there as another person on the road, just in case directions or in case you just need somebody to chat with. But at the same time, right, you're getting some stuff done with the band, and, you know, interacting with fans and other communication that you have with the band's really important. Really important.
Yeah, being in a band has so many different facets of work. Like, the performing and music part really is only like 10 to 15% of it. And like, it almost forces you into working for 20 out of the 24 hours of the day, just between doing all the different things that you have to do and all the things you have to look at, and then you sleep for 4 hours and go do it all again. It's hard, but it's so worth it to get to go do the thing that you love, you know?
Hell yeah. It's a shitload of networking.
Oh yeah.
Nonstop.
You start
So
friends.
kind of interesting, you know, that probably the thing that gets you into doing the music, which is playing the music, it's the part of it that is requires the most preparation because you had to spend all this time to, you know, like learn how to play guitar or learn how to use your vocal instrument. You just, you know, all of that preparation, and then you're only on stage for like 10-15% of the time actually doing that, performing. The rest of the time you're having to kind of be a business person, you know, so that you can still go out and do this. So it's just kind of weird how, like, and I'm not saying the business part isn't hard. I know that's hard because it takes constant, I think I used the word engagement earlier, but I'll use it again. But it takes, you know, always being, you know, we often use like motivation. I think I've called it the momentum. That's the word I'm looking for. You know, how important that is, that whenever that snowball starts like rolling, that it's kind of building and building and building, and making sure that you can keep that going and stay relevant. But that's not really why you're even doing it, right? You want to get on stage and play for people. That's the fun part. That's the part that you're like, man, that was so awesome. And so, yeah, just kind of interesting observation I caught out of what you just said there, which, I mean, it makes sense, and I guess I knew it, but having it said and knowing are two different things.
Well, and as like, because Collin working in a venue, he knows. I feel like he knows the most out of like being like working in the music business. So I've done everything I can to learn from him, and like it's
Really working together as a team helps. You know?
that's all it is.
Yeah, it's like each of us have our own little unique skill set that kind of is able to help the other person, which helps the other person, which kind of just goes around. And yeah, it's very much a team effort. Requires everyone to kind of work in unison in order to really make it work.
You're muted, homie. Zoomy. You're muted.
Dang it! I was gonna say you're like Ocean's 11. You're like Ocean's 11. That's what I was saying. How like they couldn't have robbed the vault without, you know, Jet Li being so tiny. You know what I mean? Everybody had a skill set.
That's why we have Collin, so he can fight the wild pack of donkeys we just met, and because he's an immovable wall.
You guys just met some wild donkeys?
Yeah, just like at our campground.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
All right. So where are you guys camping? When this episode is released, you won't be there anymore, so it's okay.
Right, Ferguson Lake. It's beautiful out here.
Awesome. And that's near Yuma, right?
Yeah, it's on the border of Yuma and California, right there.
Awesome. There's a lot. Aren't there some sand dunes out there too?
I think there were.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
We haven't been to any yet, though. I wanted to go sandboarding. I kept saying it, but
I want to really bad too, but you know,
hasn't worked out
sandboarding
yet.
costs money.
Yeah. Shit, what doesn't?
Right.
So you guys recently put out a single, Sanguine Reverie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the single. Like, what's the background on the song? What do you guys have coming up? Is it a precursor to some more new music?
Yeah, we have a full-length album coming out on September 15th. We're pretty stoked for. There's one more single coming out on August 28th called Gates of Torment. That's also the title track of the album. It should be a lot of fun. Sanguine Reverie is just kind of like finding the peace in the moment, but it more so relates to death. In that moment of death, just kind of finding that peace, I guess, right there.
Very cool. How many tracks are going to be on the full length?
14.
Yeah.
So it's a full length. All right.
Yeah.
That boy's stacked.
Awesome. So I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it or not. Do you guys have some more tours planned for after the release?
We have a tour that we're setting up right now with For Fear Itself in April with our record company, Breakthrough Records, that's going to help us. And then other than that, just a couple weekenders. We're going out with our buddies in Everglade and Memoir. We also got
Pig.
Yeah, we got a couple shows with Gore Pig. Just a lot of weekender kind of stuff.
We're playing Tot Fest too.
Yeah, we got Top Fest in Missoula.
Awesome. That's cool. When's that?
That'd be August 15th.
August 16th.
16th.
Okay,
I got
that's
the
coming
announcement.
up. All right, and where is that at?
Missoula, Montana.
Missoula, Montana. All right, everybody. If you're near Missoula, Montana, or not, travel there. Go see In Your Grave.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
So, what's the creative process like for you guys when writing music? Or is it a pretty collaborative? Is there a driving force? How does it work for you guys?
When we first started the album, it was mainly just me and our other guitarist, Jake, who isn't here on tour right now. He only had 2 weeks of PTO, so he had to stop at the Utah show. And then our bassist is sick currently, but he was also a part of it. But we would just kind of come to studio together. We'd have like a couple riffs and things that we have worked out. But then when we're all together in the studios, when we kind of finish up the song, it usually takes about a day to write the song itself. And then another day to do like vocals and stuff like that. And then we'll come back and retrack everything to make sure it's really tight and everything's on time and everything like that.
Awesome. So, do you guys record yourselves, or are you working through a studio? Like, how are you guys doing the recording for it?
For this last album, we did it with Bamboo Audio with our friend Ronnie Garcia. But for the next album that we're working on, we're going to record it ourselves and then send it out for mix and master.
Cool.
I'm excited to see how it evolves. Now that we have this guy who can write epic drum shit.
Nice.
I try.
Hey man, drums make a huge difference. So when you get some epic drums, it really transforms the song. So that's cool. Hell yeah.
I think drums are so stinking important with metal. I know everything is, but there are so many riffs that, like, even with a guitar, that I wouldn't even call a metal riff whenever it was standing on its own, and maybe I didn't hear it in the context with how the drums were playing, and maybe some like heavy vocals were going on top of it all. But yeah, it doesn't mean you have to have a double bass pedal. It doesn't mean that there's any like one formula for it. It just means that like they're really important, and they kind of have to be a they have to be there. They can't be like something that is just kind of in the background playing. And so that's why like I love it whenever bands are actually doing their own drum work, because so many bands have drum machines, which I'm not dogging on it, because I get it. It's hard to find a great drummer, and then again, it's sometimes even harder to find one whenever your creative juices are flowing, because sometimes timing's everything, and guys are just out there writing and they're using a drum machine so that they can keep writing, and then they have a drummer come back after the fact and do some magic. But just having them during the writing process, and it being somebody who can get out there and be a force for your team and for your brand, it matters so much. And so I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because I've always been passionate about metal drums, and I've done some sound mixing. I'm not good, but I always mix drums, metal drums, metal drums, metal drums. Even if it's not metal, they just sound better.
Punchier.
I like wooden drums.
Wooden drums are cool.
Yeah.
I like those too, Brandon.
Really
No, I
brings it all
absolutely agree
together.
that drums are insanely important, and that's not me speaking like as a drummer. That's just as a metal listener. Like, the first thing that I really hear is the drums, and the way that I've always thought about it, especially after becoming a musician, is a lot of like the vocals and guitars and whatever else is going on, they kind of control how a song sounds, whereas the drummer is the one that controls how a song feels. And so that's kind of always been where I try to put my focus whenever I'm writing. It's like, okay, this sounds good, but how can I make this shit feel good? Because yeah, there are a lot of like songs that I've heard out there where, like, yeah, the guitar player's playing some banger riff, like the thing is incredible, but the drums aren't really making it feel good, you know. And whether it's like the drummer's overplaying or underplaying, like you got to find the nice little sweet spot. You got to learn how to play in between all of the hits to kind of keep the musical conversation going in a song. And so that's typically where I tend to focus, is how do I make this feel good?
I like how you mentioned playing kind of in between everything, because one of the things I noticed with some of the stuff you guys have been recently putting out was I hear some, time signatures in there, and I don't mean that it's not in the same time as the rest of the song, but I can feel that groove and that beat just totally change. And that's how sometimes you guys lead into your breakdowns, and sometimes even coming out of them. And it really does flow. Those transitions flow really good. And a lot of that I hear whenever I talk about, some of those hits that I wasn't expecting. Those are drum hits. So, that's the part that kind of like makes me like, because sometimes music there's so much great music and you can put it on and then you can kind of like get to doing what you're doing and almost even forget what you're listening to. But moments like that in music, whenever you make transitions that are interesting, those are the things that take people out of like and not really paying attention anymore to focusing back on it again. Those are the moments when I'm listening to metal that I look back at my radio and I'm like, what track is this? I like this song. And so I noticed that with some of the stuff you guys had been recently putting out. Sanguine, one thing that I noticed about it was, and I might be totally missing the mark here, but I heard some cool nu metal influence in some of the guitar playing in there, and I thought it was super, super rad, man. I guess some of the, like, where the guitar was just ringing out some notes right at the beginning of the song was really, really cool, and I dug that a lot. And then I'm going to mess up the name of it. It's the... I got to look it up. I'm sorry. I
Is
should,
it
I should
ephemeral
have them
respite?
memorized. Yeah. Yes. Say that again. Ephemeral respite.
Ephemeral respite.
Ephemeral respite. So that song right there was the one I was specifically talking about. Some of those like weird timing. I'm calling them timing changes, and I noticed those specifically in that track. And so anyway, just some stuff. We've been talking about drums, I know, and that was stuff that jumped out to me. And I can seriously see you dancing around in there, like in between. And as far as the feel goes, you're right, man. Like the groove, right? It kind of sets the tone for. We interviewed a band recently, and whenever they talked about like their writing process, and they said, "Where are we going? With the next riff after we wrote maybe riff one, where do we go next?" They like look at the drummer and they're like, "Hey, what do you feel like playing next?" Oh, blast beats? Okay. All right. Then
Every
that's
time.
what we...
Literally every time. Thank you. It's so nice
So,
to get some representation.
Is that how you guys do it too?
I can't really speak for this band, but with the other band that I'm in, that's what happens literally every time. I'll be like, hey, like, what if we did this and this? And they're like, okay, cool. What next? And then they just stare at me. It's like, you guys are in the band too. Like, I can't be the only one writing.
You're the composer.
Yeah.
Yeah, with this band, it's kind of weird. He kind of joined after the fact of us recording. So we're excited to record with him. But I guess for this EP, or this album, what happened was I kind of like wrote the lyrics in a general feel, like blast beat section, stuff like that. And then I kind of sent it to my guitarist, and then he kind of took like the format I was looking at and then just kind of composed it himself.
That's cool. So you started with vocals on this album and kind of worked back through through guitar and all that, and then so you
Yeah, I had
started with like vocal patterns and stuff like that for the songs.
Yeah, we had like an idea, just kind of like the feel of the song. We did have to change some things with the lyrics later just to make it fit. But I did have, I guess whenever I write a song, I just have like imaginary music in the background kind of playing as I'm going.
No, that's really cool. That's unique. I have not heard anyone say describe that as their creative process before. Like that's really awesome. Um, is there like an overall theme for the album coming out? Like, is it a concept that you kind of went with?
Yeah, the album is about like the transition in death. Like Gates of Torment is like going through different gates of hell and things like that. Going through purgatory, finding peace in like your past self and things like that. Just kind of like that transition from death to the afterlife, basically, and basically ending up in heaven.
Okay. No, without can you say without spoiling it? Do we end up in hell or like where do
Kind of
we
you,
end
it's
at the
up
end
to
of
the
the album?
listener.
Where are we?
You got to listen to the album front to back.
Yeah, it's just up to you guys. It's
Uh,
whether or not you guys just want to repent of your sins and just accept the decisions you've made and move on.
all right.
This is great though because I've again talked time and time on episodes about how I'm one of these old school people who like to put the album in and play it from beginning to end. And I like to hear like, well, what's the flow? Like what's the layout of the songs? Because sometimes even the song placement like totally changes the tone of your, your overall like the product that you're putting out and how you package it together. And so I love it. I love it. You guys are like, you're gonna have to listen and see, and then decide for yourself. So
Yeah,
that's
it's really cool.
that's
Our
pretty cool.
intermissions kind of bring a story to it. You'll notice like train tracks and a train and like some bottles clanging. We talk about like the protagonist, like the main character and stuff a lot. So there's a lot of cool recurring themes and stuff like that.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
cool. When it's a concept and a theme like that too, it's just like it makes it easier to listen to an album from front to back, like in one sitting, instead of switching from song to song. Because there's a feel to it, and it guides you, to the next song. So like that's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to hearing it. Can't wait for it to come out. You said September, right?
Yeah, September 15th.
All right, we'll keep an eye out for it for sure. That's exciting. I'm happy for you guys. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Very, very cool. Very cool. Do you guys know about The Redheaded Stranger by Willie Nelson?
No,
I can't say that I do.
no.
All right. So I know this is a metal podcast, but Willie Nelson is probably one of the most badass outlaw dudes I know in music. So all I will say is it's an amazing concept album. It's about a guy who is a preacher, and he finds his wife cheating on him, and he kills them both. That's what he does. And then he goes and rides off. And there's a whole lot more that even goes into the story after that, because he's like not a great dude for a while before he kind of like becomes not so hard anymore. You know what I mean? And so it's a whole story about, an awful thing, and then an even more awful thing, and then in the end, it's, it's happy. So, I mean, cowboy happy. But a great concept album, and it was made in the 70s, and go check it out. Listen to the whole thing through. It's awesome. You guys got time. Y'all got time.
Yeah.
On the road.
Oh, yeah. You guys that.
And it's a great listen. So, also, Metal Block people out there, I'm recommending Willie Nelson's Redheaded Stranger. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, Zoomy, you and your Willie Nelson.
At least you didn't just say you and your Willie.
Yeah, that's true. I
That's what
added
I
the
said.
second
Oh.
word. That's awesome. All right, dudes. So you guys have been on the road for a while now. Do you have any crazy hijinks? Some interesting stories of anything happened to you on the road so far?
I guess the very first day of tour, when we were driving out to New Mexico, we saw a truck flip. We were driving through kind of by Moab and Lake Powell area in Utah, and there's a little canyon that goes on for like 2 hours or something. It's ridiculously long, and so we were following the silver truck probably like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. And so we see him go off, and I stopped, and everyone was sleeping, but Mason woke up with me. And then we went to go check on him, and he surprisingly got out of the truck and met us on the road. And was like, "Hey man, I crashed my truck. Can you like call an ambulance or something for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll drive down. And once I hit service, I'll call someone for you." And literally an hour and a half, 2 hours later, we're just like at a gas station, clear at like the other side of Utah. At this point, I'm just like, all right, I finally got service. You know, I can finally make a call. But I was just like, I hope the guy got help before then.
Dang. Yeah, that's crazy.
I think outside of like the typical hijinks that people think of when bands get into when they're on tour, you know, I feel like we have a little bit of a different approach to it. We're camping. Like we're not really, for the most part, not getting hotels, like not eating out fast food and all that kind of stuff. Like we have a stovetop grill in the back of the van, and we want to try to avoid having to pay for parking as much as possible because we're kind of running on a budget, right? We got to try to make this work. So that's why
we
we're
made burritos today.
Literally, like right before this call, we just made some bean and cheese burritos because we needed to make something. So
yeah, we were even kind of like joking around. We're like, would we be assholes if we were making burritos during this podcast?
Like I had to walk like half a mile down to go find a bathroom back in Texas, and then I came back and Collin was just sitting on a swing in a park, like swinging back and forth. And I'm like, that's cute, you know, that's wholesome. I love that for him.
Troublemakers, man.
Man.
Absolutely. We're the worst.
I broke some people of their littering habits, and I'm super stoked about that too. So
Managed by trash bags.
So you just gave me an awesome idea. Like, we need a cooking show, man. We need a cooking show.
Yeah, we brought it up, actually.
We've been cooking ramen, all sorts of delicious stuff. Hamburgers, fucking
hot dogs.
Yeah, burritos.
Bread bowls.
All right, what else do you guys have? Let's go ahead. Get that stove cook out. Let's see. What do you guys got? What's for dinner tomorrow?
Right, dude? Fuck, I don't know. Oh, wait. We're doing corn, beef, and we're gonna cook up some potatoes and stuff.
Yeah, that's the grill.
With some eggs.
All right, so like when you say beef, like steak, you making like some ground beef? What are you doing? Some sloppy joes? What do we got?
Corned beef hash.
Oh, corned beef hash.
Oh, dude, I fucking love corned beef hash. That's awesome.
That's exactly what I said when we passed by it in the store. I was like, oh, dude.
We gotta make that.
And Colin's like, I've never had it. And we just grabbed it. We're like, we're making it.
All right, so you guys are in Yuma. I'm only like 17, 18 hours away. I'll see you guys.
Yeah, you gonna make it, Brandon?
Yeah, we
can
corned
beef hash.
I told Collin that we should just. I told Collin we should just make this place a food truck, just to make sure that we can make more money for gas on the way. You know, like still carry the trailer with all of our like music gear and stuff, but do it in a food truck.
Just sell burgers out the back.
I'll sleep in the cabinets.
Hey,
yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Let me pin
Hey guys are.
Hey. Oh,
troubleshooting one-on-one. I used to work in customer service. Yeah.
So the people in the show don't know, but I mean, I'll leave this part in here. I'll just say we just had some technical difficulties, and we're back. We're back. So you're welcome, everybody.
I think we were last talking about starting a food truck for you guys.
Yeah,
and you guys, I think we're going to start making bean and cheese burritos to sell at the venues out of your van.
Yeah, dude. Sell some hamburgers out the back, stuff like that.
We do, yeah. We can just get like one of those little like branders or whatever that has like the In Your Grave insignia or whatever.
Ooh.
Just stamp that onto each piece of food.
There you go.
You're onto something. You're onto something. And you actually just sparked a random thought in my head that's not food related that I'm probably going to have to come back to a little bit later. But for those of you out there, like Mason was showing us in the background, their grill that they're cooking all these delicious foods on while they're out on the road. And they talked about not being in the hotels and stuff, and so to them, that I think Mason said, it's not as I forget the word that we were using, but it's not as crazy and as wild as like hotel rooms and partying or whatever. They're like, we're just camping and we're grilling out. But I'll be honest, that sounds like way cooler. That sounds like way more cool. Anyway,
I think it's way more fun, and it keeps me out of trouble. I definitely have a history of getting in trouble before, but I don't now, and this is the reason why.
And it saves a ton of money when we can cook 4 burgers and get all the stuff for like $20. It's way better than going to McDonald's and spending like 30, 40.
Makes it so we have an extra $20 to promote our stuff that's coming out,
Hell yeah. So are you guys camping like in a tent, or are you sleeping in the van just at campsites?
A mix of both.
Yeah, I mainly just sleep. It depends on how many members. Right now, since there's only 3, we can each get a bench and it's super easy. But when there was 5 or 6 of us, then yeah, we'd use a tent.
Okay, so no spooning in the benches.
Nope, not today.
Collin likes to cuddle, so we have to be careful.
Well, it probably gets cold in the mountains. I mean,
It does, dude. I make up every excuse I get.
I'll blame you.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I don't know. Do we want to go ahead and play a song? We were talking about playing a song. We've been talking about Sanguine a lot, and I think we were talking earlier that would be a really cool one to go ahead and play here on the show today.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
Just
do it.
came out. It's the one.
All right. Why don't you guys introduce your song? I would love that.
Yeah, this is Sanguine Reverie by In Your Grave.
Let's do it again.
Man, such an awesome song, guys. We are so grateful that you let us play it on the show. It's one of our most favorite moments in the show because we talk time and time again about being fans of metal. So our show, we like to share and promote that metal, and I mean it's great that we can sit here and talk. But whenever people, while they're listening or watching the show, can also hear you guys if they hadn't had a chance to, I feel like it just makes a night and day difference. And I'm always a big favor to how it turns out. I'm an old school MTV dork, and so I like them because I make them like they're MTV music videos. Because I'll have your artwork, but it'll show like here's the band, here's the song, here's the album, here's the EP. Like just the little tags down the bottom. Anyway, so I have fun doing the song as well on a personal note because it's just a good time, and I like rocking out, man. And that's an awesome track. It's one of the most recent ones. You guys just put that out, and we're excited. We're excited for the new stuff that you got coming because this stuff you've been putting out is killer. It's killer. Everybody go check out In Your Grave. Be ready for the new album that's coming out in September. It's going to be killer. And you said Gates of Torment? Was that what it was called? Or
Yep. It'll
Gates
come
of
out
Torment.
August 28th.
August 28th. So there you go, guys. Don't miss out. Go check them out. And, yeah. What's next, Brando? We have any questions?
About some gear. You guys like talking about gear?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, whoever wants to start, tell us what what do you like to play on? What's your favorite gear?
Anything Ibanez. That's Ibanez. I use a 7-string.
All right.
I use a 7-string like with a multi-scale, and I couldn't live without it. And it's been getting little nicks and stuff from being on the road, and I feel bad, and I hate myself for it. But then it's what it's used for, so it'll be okay.
What about
So,
you,
so
Steve?
you like the multi-scale?
Yeah, I like it because that low end. Because we're down tuned so low, I kind of need the extra scale length on that low side to be able to kind of withstand it and not sound so muddy. And then we put that through a quad cortex, which just makes everything super clean too.
Sweet. So what do you guys tune down to?
Drop F.
Drop F. That's pretty low. All right.
Might as well have an 8-string, but we're cool.
Hell yeah. So drop F on 7 strings,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Yep.
So for the longest time, I would tune my 6 strings to standard B, tune it down, and then I finally, just a little over a year ago, bought my first 7 string, and now I just play it in standard. So I'm like, oh, this is like a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
Who knew? I've been doing it the hard way all this time.
I 100% have picked up a girl saying, "Hey, your dude looks like he plays in standard tuning. Let's wanna come with me?" It worked.
He's
Not
mine.
immediately. It didn't work immediately, but then she saw my jawline. It was fine.
It's the long game, right?
Yeah. Shut up, Collin.
Anyways, my gear.
Your gear.
Yeah, my gear. So I've got a lot of brands and stuff that I would love to try. They're just drums are expensive, and I'm hoping I'll get to them in the future. But right now, the setup that I'm rocking is it's a 5-piece Gretsch kit. It's a Catalina Club, and I just have like an extra rack tom from an old kit that I had that I just threw on there. Rocking some high quality Meinl cymbals. Those things have been an absolute game changer as far as like how the drums sound. And then I'm using the DW 9000 double pedal. Things of industry standard for a reason. And then I'm using my signature sticks that I have with Scorpion percussion. These things are absolute beasts. And yeah, that's basically my setup.
I love Gretsch kits, man. I love them so much. I remember always wanting, whenever we played, our buddy Matt, I always wanted Matt to have one. I think Matt ended up getting a Yamaha if I remember right. But
Mapex.
was it a Maypay? Okay, well, anyway, it was a great kit, the one he got. I mean, I didn't have any complaints with it, but I was always like, get the Grash, get the Grash. You know, easy for the bassist, right? The guy who just
Right.
has, you know, his bass, a chord, and a bass amp. And that's about
Yeah.
all he carries around with him to the show. So easy for me to say that. But yeah, you know. Mason, I was pretty much all Ibanez too, man. I've tried playing all these different brands, and it always seems like, bass wise at least, Ibanez is the one that I tend to want to stick with. And I've been leaning toward these multi scales. I haven't had a chance to really play them much, but I like them, like the couple of times that I have, and you know, and that's on the bass. I really do. But mine's actually for a different reason. I like it on the high end. I feel like on the high end, I can get a better, I don't know, like more ergonomic. Like my reach is better, my accuracy is better. Like it feels more right. And so I feel like I can noodle around on the high end just a little bit more than I did before. But yeah,
Yeah, and that'll all just depend on where you like the neutral point, because there's two kinds of neutral points that you can have on a multi-scale. It'll either line up that it's on the 7th fret or on the 12th fret, and that'll kind of just, you know, that'll determine a difference. And then there's most of that's just feel and what you like, how you like it to feel at the end of the day. I think mine's neutral at the 12th fret if I remember right, which
yeah,
I feel like
think
that's
12th fret. Yeah, that's for the one that I was like messing around with. Yeah,
yeah.
I think so.
But outside of that, I mean, and then when it comes to, I feel like all my friends have like $4,000 or $5,000 like Kiesel or, you know, something super exotic, and I don't know, my Ibanez's I feel like just feel better. They are more durable, and they tend to they just last me a lot longer and don't have as many issues as things that I've seen my friends have to deal with before. Like I have a Legator that's I've loved it. It's so pretty, but I just can't stop having issues with it. But and I will get it fixed one day. But that's just because I like to do all the fixes myself, even if I don't know how to.
I've heard that about those, that they've got some hardware issues.
And it can happen. They're mostly great guitars, but you know, it happens every once in a while. And it's just like any
Yeah.
guitar brand.
Yeah, it stinks when you spend like that kind of money on a guitar and then it breaks. You know?
For something that somebody else will pay $3,000 or $4,000 for, I got my Ibanez for $1,000, and it does the job.
Oh yeah. Nice. Yeah, Ibanez is good stuff. I've never owned one. I've always liked them. Just for some reason, never gotten one. But maybe that'll be one of my next ones. You speak very highly of them, so you know I'll give them a shot. I'll give them a shot.
So I'll say this, you know, Ibanez, a lot of times my overall impression of them is they make amazing instruments. What I think a lot of people get lost in, and it's easy to do, you know, especially if you're not somebody who wants to sit down and read about all these new instruments that come out. But Ibanez also makes cheap, crappy stuff too, right? Because they're trying to get anybody and everybody to buy an Ibanez, but it doesn't mean that all Ibanez is bad. But, you know, just like most things, you're going to get what you pay for. And, you know, if you get a killer deal and you know what you're getting, then that's cool too. You know, I mean, because that happens. But you have to be, like, on the lookout for that in order. Because if you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know what that deal is, then you'll miss it. You'll miss it. You won't even realize it was right there in front of you. And so, that's what I've always thought about Ibanez, though, is like they make amazing instruments, but they also make crappy instruments. You just have to know what you're buying, but you should if you're buying anything anyway, because they're not cheap anymore, unless you get the cheap one, right?
Just like any guitar brand, there's lower end, there's higher end. It's all about doing your research, finding the budget that works best for you and what you're doing at that moment, and playing on
And
it.
sitting down and playing it, right? You know, play it a little bit.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
all
I was
that
gonna say
matters. Whether you like one brand or another don't matter to me. The only fight that will never be won is Gibson or Fender, and I don't lie into either of those categories, so I'm out of that fight.
Yeah, me either. I keep saying I want a Telly, but I don't want to spend the money for one, and I don't play guitar on a regular basis, so why?
Well, I've had Telecasters before too. I always rip out the pickups and put something super hot in it.
This is actually a really good time Actually, we didn't talk at all about Collin or any gear that he might use, so I'm sorry.
I'm just the vocalist, man.
Nah, man. Your bread and butter's at X32, so.
Yeah, I guess I'll talk about the racks. So we kind of just use more like an X32 with an S32 snake. And then I use a microphone, just the Sennheiser A25. And then he uses an Electro Voice. Can't remember the model number.
It's an ND76.
Oh, ND76. And then we run just all of our lines directly to the front of house, just through our X32, which is kind of cool. And we also have our lighting rig that kind of connects to that as well.
Collin built that. And we all
Nice. So do you guys have the server cart, or do you because you say quad cortex, so do you guys run amps, or you run the quad cortex to the front of the house and then go through you use the house monitors?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Quad cortex directly to the front of house.
Everything
Cuts down stage noise and stuff like that. Gives a cleaner sound, I feel like.
Yeah, that's cool. Heck yeah! So do you have the cart? Got like a server cart, with all the shit in it?
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
actual rack
Big
box.
road case, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
It also cuts down
That's-
space in the trailer.
Yeah, less load in too, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
super nice. Just rack and drums.
We take a lot of pride on being one of those bands that can get loaded in, set up, checked, and get unloaded as fast, probably faster than any other band.
I'm sure that the sound guys, the venue, and the promoters all really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's really efficient. We love it.
Nice.
I've always heard whenever we talk to promoters or sound people or whatever, they always love it whenever the musicians are like, alert and paying attention and know what they're doing. And so I know that that's always helpful.
This is work, man. You got to keep that work ethic into it, but it's also super fun. So it doesn't ever really feel like work. It's just a good time.
No, that's how things pay off, though. All the little details like we were talking about earlier, the little things. All right, guys, so I was thinking this is a good time to jump into our 5 questions. So one of the things we do on every show is we ask just 5 random questions. I say random, they're not random in the sense of like I'm making them up on the spot, but they're random because we don't use the exact same ones every episode. Now, to be fair, I've started to run out of ideas, and so some of the questions are like pivots off of like another question. It might be just another way to look at a similar topic, but for the most part, everything's new. And who wants to go first?
Dude, I'll go first.
Collin, my
Come
man.
on down.
My man, yeah. Come on down. Which, speaking of which, okay, that line right there, come on down, reminds me, I know it's The Price is Right, but it reminds me of Happy Gilmore. After Happy Gilmore beats up Bob Barker, and he goes into the office, like, to be reprimanded, and Shooter McGavin's sitting in there, and he's like, Happy Gilmore, come on down. So, anyway, I was just shouting that out, because there's going to actually be a Happy Gilmore 2 released on Friday, which is totally crazy, but I'm watching it. So we interrupt this video to issue a correction. Everybody knows that Bob Barker beat up Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore did not win that fight. Your Honor, I rest my case. Here we go, Collin. 5 questions. What would you do if you won the lotto?
Shoot, I would put all the money away except for enough to buy a car.
Like what kind of car?
Sounds like you.
Probably just another van.
Another van.
I'm pretty easy. Sprinter van
Yeah.
this time, though.
Yeah, is that, you think that was, have you guys had experience with that and you like it better?
No. I drove for Bandwagon, but they're just expensive and way out of my budget.
I see. So whenever you're driving
Betsy
for
number
Bandwagon,
2 incoming, dude.
what's that?
Betsy number 2 incoming, dude. Just you
Yeah.
wait.
Did you say Betsy?
Yeah, that's the
Ah.
band, dude.
That's the band.
Dude, that's so awesome. My mom, whenever I was a kid, I remember my mom, like, we would have these old cars, you know, and my dad would, like, they never bought a new vehicle. And I mean, it's cool. They were always just looking for, you know, something to get them to the next one, I guess. And, you know, they didn't have a whole lot of money. But my mom, I remember being a kid and her trying to start this car and it'd be like, chugga, 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 chugga. And her being like, come on, Betsy. Come on, Betsy. Oh, yeah, man. So it's a good car name. And I love my mama. Mama, I love you. So, here we go. Number 2. What would be on the flag of your pirate ship?
Shoot, I would go with a donkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, donkeys are tough. Donkeys are brutal. You know what? Somebody should make a band. You know, we've got all these different vocal sounds that you hear in, you know, like now, like with like bands like Gutalax and or Gutalax, I think is how it's actually pronounced. But, you know, all these like different newer sounds. It'd be kind of cool if somebody took the donkey sound and dropped it into some brutal metal, man.
I can do it. Collin, I'll just hide in your closet. I'll just wait for you to have sex next time.
There you go.
Oh. Well, okay. What is your favorite shape? Like geometric shape. Or I guess it doesn't have to be bound by geometry if you can describe
I'd say square.
Square.
I'm pretty much a square.
Well, there's nothing wrong with
I'm
the square.
kind of a pair myself.
Square is the OG. You know what I mean? I mean, square, or maybe circle is, but square's right there with circle as the OG. So, nothing wrong with that. So I know you guys are used to playing in some really, really hot temperatures. So, what show was the hottest that you can recall playing? That could be indoor or outdoor. I guess it doesn't even have to be like the Arizona show, you know?
It had to be the Arizona show. That was definitely the hottest show by far. It was like 120 degrees that day.
Oh,
Is
man.
that inside or outside?
Outside, but it was still like 100 degrees on stage, I'd say, with those LED lights.
Oh, yeah.
So did you, whenever you get a breeze, like if the wind happens to blow and the temperature is that hot, does it even do anything, or is it just like...
Our air conditioner didn't even do anything, I'll add. Like, the van's air conditioning was, like, amazing. There were so many times we had to turn it off because it worked too well. But when we were in Arizona and we're just sitting there waiting to, like, load in, it's on full max blast. And we're sitting in the front seat and we're like, we, like, can't even feel this right now. This is the worst.
Oh, my
This is
gosh.
awful.
The AC can't even take it down. Well, you know, that might be because in Arizona there's not a lot of moisture in that heat. I bet it has to work harder to cool it down. Because I think...
That makes sense.
Because, you know, air conditioners, if you run your air conditioner, it drips water.
Mm-hmm.
And so what it does is it pulls the moisture out of the air, and that's part of the cooling process. And there's more to it because it runs over cold coils and has refrigerant and all this other stuff. But one of the things it does is extract that moisture out of the air, and that's why it drips.
And there will be a quiz at the end of the...
Yeah. There will be HVAC qualifying what do you call it, license test to proceed. But okay,
pop quiz kind of
yeah,
thing,
you know, it really doesn't matter. But okay, number 5, orange juice or apple juice?
Orange juice.
Orange juice. Yeah, I think I'm with you on this one, man. I think I'm with you. I love
Can't
a
go
good
wrong.
glass of orange juice, man. It is so stinking good. I freaking love it. All right, man. Well, that's great. That's five questions. Thanks for playing, Collin.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Who wants to go next? Mason, Steven?
I guess I'll go.
Mason. All right. So tell us, what would you do with that lotto money, brother?
Lotto money. Oh man. I pay off my mom's house, and then I'm buying a GTR or a Supra, a Mark IV Supra. Yeah, Mark IV.
All right.
Nice. It's fast, right?
Yeah, dude, that's like my dream car. It's from '95. It's like a year older than me, or I guess you could get one from '96. It'd be my same age, but yeah, nonetheless, it's a Supra, dog. Like, that Supra?
Yeah. I remember seeing a cop car around that was a super cop car, and I always remember thinking, man, you ain't running that. you know that guy's winning if you decide to run. So, That's kind of funny. And you're taking care of mom, man. What a noble thing to do, you know?
Mom is
Everybody-
everything, dude.
Yep.
I burned this planet down for my mother.
You know what? That's how we should be toward our mothers. And whenever you have a mom that's that great that you would be willing to do that, I know everybody doesn't have the same experience with parents, but the ones who, you know what I'm talking about here, it is an extreme, I don't know what else to call it other than like freaking blessing. You know, you have somebody who that, you know, loves you so much that you want to do anything for as well in the end, and probably a good friend as well, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, my mom could. She was there through everything. I could tell her anything. If I was 17, I came home tripping on some drug that I decided to find that night. I could tell her about it, and she'd just laugh at me, and then.
Well, that's probably why your relationship's good. You know, you weren't like judged. So, man, buying mom a house, you know, or taking care of mom.
Easy.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Well, all right. What about your pirate ship? What would that flag look like?
Let me think. It'd have a raccoon on it for sure.
Nice.
I'm a trash person. Trash panda.
Trash panda. I was about to say that. We we have a little small place in Sulphur, and it's kind of out in the country, but it's not. It's just like one lot, but it's in a very wooded type area, and it's by a lake and all that stuff. But anyway, these raccoons, man, they are like.
I'm a raccoon, but I'm domesticated. I'm house trained.
Yeah, dude, they blow me away with how like I'll forget one little thing outside and they find it. And sometimes one time we had dominoes, like a thing of dominoes, you know, like the game, and they'll have the case and it snaps closed. And we found it out in the yard. Like, this dude carried it up off the table. He was like, I'm taking these dominoes. And he, like, went out in the yard and was probably, like, looking at them with his, you know, tiny human hands. And, like, and then was probably like, I guess I really don't need these. And he just set them back down right there.
Okay, see, I think there's a difference between, like, a forest raccoon and a city raccoon. I'm a city raccoon. I like garbage cans and concrete. Every time that we were like out somewhere and like when we were touring, there was a couple of times that we found actual campgrounds and stuff. I'm way more comfy just sleeping in the street in the van, like in the van in the city. I think the other dudes are opposite of me like that, but I don't know. The city just makes me feel, I wouldn't say safe, but I guess more at home, I would say.
Yeah, because it's usually like something's going on, even when things are asleep, there's always kind of something happening, you know, like there's always cars driving.
Noise, I might be able to just sleep through it there. If there's a noise in the middle of the forest, I need probably to wake up or we're gonna die.
Yeah, man. If there's a noise out in the middle of the forest, trust me, I don't care. Even if I've slept out there, I'm gonna be like, "What was that? Did anybody know what that was?" Especially if I don't know. All right. So, what is your favorite shape?
Octagon.
The old stop sign.
8 signs. Never let them know your next move. You know.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. So, do you agree, Arizona, hottest show? Because
easy, dude. Like, it was like 120 degrees outside, and when you went inside, it didn't feel any better. It did not. And then there was like 300 people in there, at the beginning of the day, and it was so hot. It was.
So in Arizona, was that Tucson or Phoenix?
That was Phoenix, but I don't know. I would actually also even give like Amarillo or like what was one of those other days in Texas, like in the Dallas area. Oh, it was that hot, but also humid on top of it.
Yeah.
I had a constant unwanted shower, like sweat shower, just all the time.
Yeah, it's like walking out into a wet fart.
Yeah, it was bad. I was sweaty. I was stinky. We were stinky after like a day and a half. So we were getting a lot of showers in on that first half of the run.
It does not take long when you're in that kind of Texas heat with that humidity, man. It is something else. I completely agree. And you know, up a little bit further north in Oklahoma, it's not as bad as like further south in Texas, but I would say it's semi comparable to the Dallas Fort Worth area. But like I'm sweating in the morning by the time I get to my truck and I'm about to drive to work, and then I crank the AC, and then because I'm sweating, I start to actually get cold. And it's so stupid because I'm wet with this cold air hitting me, and then I'm all like, okay, I gotta turn the AC on low. Anyway, it's a nightmare with like basically sweating all the time every time you step outside, because then you're just wet.
Oh yeah, and by the time we saw you in OKC, we were already like, we were already weathered to it. We were just used to Texas, so Oklahoma was definitely a little bit of a relief.
It is a little better.
Warm that day, but it was a little bit of relief.
Yeah, OKC is still a little bit better than Dallas. It's comparable, but I would say just being
so many ways.
Yeah, 10 steps further north is better. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to stand over here, guys. Why? Because it's north. That's why. It's a little colder up here. All right, so orange juice or apple juice?
Apple juice.
Apple juice.
Apple juice. Apple juice.
Apple juice.
That's what I grew up on, dude.
Yeah. So like a juice box or like the jug?
Oh, dude, I'm gonna drink the whole jug. You bet. Like, just it's like you're gonna give me that. You're gonna leave the bottle, okay?
Juice box is enough to just like piss you off. You know what I'm saying? You're like, crush.
Oh yeah, no, it pissed off, and then I'm pissing on everything immediately after that shit runs through me.
That trash panda in you coming out.
Yeah, there he comes.
I'm authentic, yo. That's the way I am.
Oh, well, thanks, man. That's that was a lot of fun. 5 questions down, Mason. So on to Steven. Steven with the PH. I had to actually look it up because I was like, is he a V or a PH?
No, it's a PH.
It's the PH. So I've always wondered, do people who have the PH, do they go by Steve ever?
No, because it's too basic. What?
I mean, for the most part, yeah, a lot of us go by Steven. However, I will say I have had people like, try to like spell my name because everyone knows there's multiple spellings. And I had one instance. It was at like some building like where I needed to fill out forms or whatever for like a driver's license or maybe not that, but it was something regarding that. And they asked for my name. I said, Steven. They're like, is that a V or a PH? And I was like, oh, it's a PH. And they almost started spelling the beginning of my name with PH and then like TE. And then they're like, I need to get you a new form. Hold on. We had to redo it. And I was just like, oh my God.
Start the clock over.
Just let me write my name, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Steven.
Question 1. Yeah.
Right.
What would you do if you won the lotto, my friend?
If I won the lotto, as much as I admire my bandmates' answers and they're allowed to spend that money on whatever they wish, I feel like I'm going to play it a little smart. First thing I'm doing when I get that lotto money, I'm saving about 30% of it because the IRS is going to come for that shit, you two. And
you're right about that.
Yeah, so immediately putting off that to the side, so that way I'm covered there. And then from there, I'm going to cover any debts that I have, get all of that stuff paid for, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Once that is taken care of, I'm going to take a little portion of it and I'm just going to invest it all, so that way I can just have like a nice passive income, so that way we can just keep doing band stuff all the time and I don't have to worry about working for someone else.
There you go.
And then from the rest of it, honestly, I'd probably just buy some property out in the middle of nowhere where I'm not going to get bothered. I can just play drums all day, every day, have no neighbors to complain about it, and just sit pretty the rest of my life.
Is it as much fun playing drums if there's no one to complain about it, though?
Got a point.
I will say, when you have like neighbors and people who can complain about it, it's very easy to tell what time it is because they will tell you what time it is.
Yeah.
And so that's really the only perk I'm missing out on. Like, hey, it's 2 a.m. It's like, oh, okay, thank you.
You go, I'm a drummer. I know what timing is, dick.
That's my whole shtick, bro.
Yeah, man. I remember the same thing though. jamming, and it's been a long time since I've really had that kind of band practice. But it would like some neighbor would get mad, or remember Brandon, like.
Yeah, I remember Brandon.
Oh man, like here guys, listen to this. This is one time we had this drummer, and great guy Sam, we still talk to him, awesome dude, but he had this girlfriend, and he lived in this like garage apartment. His landlord was right by, and she was an awful person, man. She just we weren't ever allowed to make any noise. She'd complain about like walking over to the house because she would accuse you of walking through her garden, like typical old person stuff, that you're just like, oh my gosh. So we decided we were going to get this insulation, and we were going to insulate the walls, and we had some soundproofing and all that kind of stuff. We were just doing everything we could, and the neighbor was actually okay with that. But then remember Brandon, his girlfriend flipped out because we hung up all that insulation up there, and she said that it was just going to get everywhere. And we were like, yeah, it's fine though, we're just trying to jam, and it was just this
band, who cares?
Yeah, like what does it even matter? And so I just remember it being a thing. And so if it wasn't like the cops, okay, the obvious, it was a landlord or a neighbor, or it was a girlfriend.
Girlfriend.
There's always somebody trying to keep the boys from rocking out, man. So but no, guys, that was a lot of fun. Actually, wait, we're not done. What am I thinking?
No.
Holy
No,
moly,
no.
we just went through the lotto. Crap. Steven,
Yeah.
pirate ship, flag.
That was a question?
Yeah. What would be
All
on
right,
the pirate ship flag?
Okay, so what would my flag be on the pirate ship? I think I got to go just the traditional drummer route. I think I'd just get like a snare drum on a black flag with like two drumsticks as like the crossbones on it.
Ah.
I feel like that would be my thing. Maybe like a skull behind it with like a mustache or something.
Heck yeah.
I
I
think
was
that'd
literally
be my
gonna say
flag.
mustache. He needs a mustache, dude.
Yeah,
Gold
this
D.
here
Roger,
do what?
Gold D. Roger type stuff. You know?
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So then I'm gonna try to guess your favorite shape inside my head, but what is your favorite shape?
I think I'm probably gonna have to go with a heart.
Oh.
Mainly
Oh.
because it is the shape of a woman with a nice ass.
There you go.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
I'm very much an ass man. If there's
I can
anything
appreciate
to do
that.
about me, I play the drums and I like a nice ass. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with a
Upside
heart.
down, upside down
I
heart.
was expecting out of you. That's so much.
Oh man, hey, I guessed wrong. I
gonna
figured
guess-
it would.
Did
I
you
figured
guess
it would be
circle?
a circle, like
Yeah.
drums, a circle. But I was
Nope.
totally wrong.
Yeah, you were
But I
right.
learned something about you, Steven, with the PH.
Yep,
I
always
learned
keep 'em
something
guessing.
about you.
Way more deep than that, man.
PHEN.
Oh man. So okay, the heart. I love it. Are you with them on Arizona being the hottest?
So my answer for hottest show is a little different from these guys. Mason was kind of touching on it a little bit. It's probably Amarillo, Texas was the hottest one for me personally. Not necessarily like outside. It was just more of a personal experience inside because that was like the second or third show that we had played on tour. And so we were still kind of like getting our bearings on tour because there's always a little bit of like an adjustment period getting into it. And I remember at that show, we were headlining, and I was like, oh, I want to look cool. I want to look badass on the drums. So, like, instead of putting my hair up like I should have, I kept my hair down like this. And, like, whatever fan all of the other drummers had, for whatever reason, someone knocked it out of the way. So I did not have a fan on me that entire show. And a lot of the stuff that I was playing was like making me sweat bullets. And I'm sitting there like really rocking out because, we're headlining and trying to like really bring the energy. And all of my hair is starting to mat to like my neck and my face. And I can't do anything about it because my hands have drumsticks in it. And I can't stop to be like, oh, I just had to play through it. So I had no fan. I was sweating bullets, and all of my hair was sticking to my face. And like I can't really mess with it because like my in-ears were in a certain way, and if I started playing with my hair, it would knock my ears out. And so that was just one of those moments where I was like, this is awful. The show is rad, but this experience right now is the worst. And so I remember after we had gotten done playing, normally like the very first thing I do before I even break down my drums, I'll after a show I'll go outside to like get some fresh air. But it's the Texas heat. And so I walk outside hoping to get some sort of like breeze or like refreshing air, and I walk outside and I literally feel no change walking out the door, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst. I hate this so much.
I'm going home.
So yeah, that was probably the hottest experience for me, at least with Arizona. By the time we had walked out and we were all done with the show and everyone's packing up and getting ready to leave, like it had cooled down slightly enough to where like I could walk outside and at least get a little bit of relief, because like we're used to dry heat. And so like my body was already kind of acclimated to that. So I at least got some relief from that. Whereas in Texas, there was none. So that was probably the hottest show for me by far.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's brutal whenever you walk outside and it's like worse than, it wasn't the relief you were expecting. You know, you were like, oh. Yeah. And I know that like blow dryer Texas feeling, man. It's rough. All right, man. Orange juice or apple juice?
Secret answer C. I'm going grape juice.
Great.
Nice.
I like it.
Nothing wrong with orange juice or apple juice. I feel like both of them have their place. Like for breakfast, definitely orange juice. If I'm just wanting like a little bit of sugar or something, apple juice. But if I'm wanting something to just drink on while I'm like watching TV or practicing my little drum rudiments or whatever, I'm going grape juice for sure.
Very nice, man.
I like it.
I'm a fan of grape juice too. As actually, I like most juices. You know, they're all pretty good. And
juice guy.
My wife, she is big on fruit. Whenever she was growing up, she talked about them being real poor, but they, you know, always seem to have fruit around. And so she's always eating on fruit. And at my house, we weren't eating on fruit a lot. Like my mom made cakes and stuff like that, you know, so we ate cake and pie.
Ooh, how about some of that cake juice?
Yeah, you know. And
give me some of that cake juice.
Give me some of that cake juice.
But I want cake juice.
No kidding, man. We might be onto something, you know. Like, how'd you get it? You squeezed the cake.
Write that down.
You squeezed the cake.
Somebody call a distillery now. Put our band's name on it. Let's go.
It's in your grave.
Cake juice. I think that's called butter.
Yeah. Sugar and butter, man. That's cake juice right there. But hey guys, you know that was
butter.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I love doing those questions. I like the people who check out the show to get to know you guys a little bit differently and realize that, yeah, you guys are just cool dudes like the rest of us. And whenever they go to the show, they come over and chat with you at the merch table. Like, I went over and ran into these guys at the merch table. It was before I'd even said, hey, I'm going to be doing a podcast and with you guys up here coming up. They didn't recognize me just yet. And they were both super nice. And so, you know, that's what is awesome about not just pretty much every metal show, but, you know, whenever you get to hang out with guys like you that are putting out some really, really awesome music, and you guys are also still just hanging back with the fans, man. And fans of just metal in general, you know, because you guys had several different bands, you know, and you guys were all playing different kinds of styles on that show. But it was all really, really good metal, and it was fun to see all of the bands. And there was actually a band too that opened, the local band, Tainted Beef, man. And those guys are from like the Lawton area down in Oklahoma, and I thought they were a lot of fun to watch too, man. Just a bunch of young kids up there rocking, and they were really killing it too. And that's a lot of fun to just see young people still being excited about the music, and bands like you guys out there just rocking the show, man. And I remember, Mason, I said this earlier, but everybody was like rocking with you, like you jumped off the stage and they were all like right there rocking with you, man. And I thought it was really cool. And I always say, OKC shows up there, it might not be full all the time, but the ones that come, they like to play. So it's
that's hands down probably my favorite moment over tour. That was one of the coolest experiences. I don't know. I pulled that out of a whim. I never would have done that normally, but it was the right crowd. I could feel it, so I did it.
Yeah, man,
Nice.
it was really awesome, and I loved the response that you guys had, and so much fun. So everybody out there, go check out In Your Grave. I know a lot of you have probably already heard them, but if you haven't, go check out more of the stuff. We played Sanguine Reverie earlier, but you know what? They've got a whole lot more stuff, and like they talked about, all sorts of new music that's coming out. They got 14 tracks that are going to be on that album that's going to be coming out in September. I think it was September 15th. You know, is if I'm remembering with my notes here, and then not to mention that you guys also have some cool shows that are coming up. You got the one in what is it? It's in Montana, right? Missoula, Montana. That Top Fest.
Yeah, Top Fest.
And that one is the 16th of August. So I'm gonna put all of this in the descriptions. If I find flyers for stuff, I like to put that up too, just so people can see the flyer and the other bands that are going with it. So if I found it, it's there. You saw it, and guys, it's just a blast hanging out with y'all. Getting a chance to meet y'all, and then getting a chance to do the interview, and then even having like a little follow-up session here. You guys are like family. Whether you want to be in my family or not, we're family. Because family, you don't choose your family.
But you say that now, and then I show up at your doorstep Thanksgiving dinner, and you're just gonna wonder how I got your address.
Listen here.
Hey, Mason's
Come on down, buddy.
You said we were family.
Same to your family. I'd be like, come on in, man. My wife made some butterball chickens or turkeys or something. Get in here and eat something.
With a side
Get
of
some
cake
cake
juice.
juice on.
Yeah, get some cake juice.
Come in.
Oh, but no, guys, it's a blast, man, and I love just sitting here and laughing and chatting. I could do this for hours and hours and hours. It's the reason we do the show, to hang out with you guys, and then hopefully everybody else out there that checks it out, that they hear something that they haven't heard, or that it makes them want to listen to a little bit more of the music, and you guys' music, and even other people you guys are playing with, and other bands that you guys are rocking with. But it's an honor for us to have you here on the show, guys, and we're like super, super excited to get to put this out. So I know everybody's going to enjoy it, and we're going to continue to share and post all the stuff that you guys put out there, and just make sure that whatever we can do to support you guys, we're going to stay active in doing so. And I'll shut up and I'll let Brandon talk for a second, because I know he's got stuff to say.
Man, I just want to thank you guys for coming on. It's awesome getting to know you, and can't wait to see what you guys do next. Hear that new stuff coming out, so keep it up.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody out there, thanks for watching the show. Metal Block over and out.